Hey, friends. Thanks for hanging out. We're going to start in just a couple moments.
They're just a bunch of guys doing as best they can in a very competitive business. We're starting here in just a couple of moments. Thanks for hanging out. Go on Twitch.
That's good. That's good. That's good. That's good. Robbie, yeah! That's good. That's good. I'm on baby like my soul. That's good. That's good. That's good. That's good. That's good. That's good. Robbie, yeah! I tell you, it's all right.
I'm fighting the sweat.
It's all right.
I'm fighting the sweat.
I'm on baby like my soul.
Fighting the sweat.
It's all right. That's good.
I'm fighting the sweat.
I say it's all right.
Fighting the sweat. Fighting the sweat.
That's good.
Fighting the sweat.
Robbie, yeah! I'm on baby like my soul.
The N.FM, I am DJ Zouain. This is the Hijack. Thank you for being a part of the program. Thank you for being here. We have a lot of stuff to talk about. A lot to pack in because, well, I'm not going to be here next week. I'm going to be in a better place. No, I'm not dying. I'm not dying. I mean, I don't think I'm dying. I might be. Everybody's dying, I guess, slowly. Some people are dying faster. Jesus, this show started really dark. All right, well, that's where we are right now. So whatever. That's what we're gonna do. So, welcome to the Hijack. The show is brought to you as always by the N.FM. It's brought to you by Irreverent. It's brought to you by the Hijack. It's brought to you by the Monday Music Mix that you can listen to all of that at the N.FM. You could also check out Imperial Class Tattoo at the corner of 436 and 434 in the Froggers Plaza. So I guess technically not at the corner, but just over toward Apopka a little bit. Anyway, go there, check it out, talk to Bear, tell him I sent you. And also brought to you by buddocs.org. You can go to the N.FM and scroll down and set up your appointment at the N.FM to go get your bud doc. Get your bud doc appointment at buddocs.org and get your medical marijuana card like I'm doing right now. Yeah. Medicating while conversating. That's not a word. Well, I guess it is a word because Notorious B.I.G. used it. Conversate for a few, because in a few, we're going to do what we came to do. Ain't that right, boo? True? So yeah, I guess that is kind of technically a word. Artistic liberties. Artistic liberties. Actually, you know what? That's funny that I mention artistic liberties. It's like the show writes itself. Actually, I write the show. Sometimes. I write whatever I'm going to talk about. The point is that there are certain things which we are expected to, which we're expected to edit, that are expected, editorial. You get your movies with the editor's cut or the I don't know which the longer one is, which is the longer one, but there's the editorial cut and then there's the writer's cut or whatever the hell, the different cuts. You know what you don't do cuts of? When it comes to pertinent information, important things, you don't edit journalism. Now, I understand that there are levels of editing, but there's a level of integrity that goes with editing a journalism story, a news story, something that Katie Couric is, at this point, barely a journalist, or considered a journalist. Anyway. She spoke to RBG. She had an interview with her. And in the interview, RBG makes a crazy statement about the Colin Kaepernick protests. Now, obviously, you don't want to speak ill of the dead and all of that, and I am not here to do that. I'm also not here to, and let me be clear, I'm not here to disparage the name of Ruth Bader Ginsburg. The notorious RBG is the notorious RBG. My problem here is not with RBG, although I have a problem with what she said about the protests. But I don't have a problem with RBG herself. I think that she was a progressive icon. She was instrumental in a lot of the progress that women have had since she was involved, and there is something to be said for that, but they're not perfect. And I saw this happen a lot in the conservative circles. In the conservative circles, I saw a lot of people being protected. They would say certain things and they would just keep it quiet, or they did something egregious and they kept it quiet. I saw it happen a lot in conservative circles during when I was doing conservative talk radio. So when they didn't do the cover up, when conservatives didn't do the cover up, they would just scorch the person and move on. Oh, well, that person was awful to begin with. He was a fake one. He wasn't a real Republican, or he wasn't a real conservative, or he didn't really have whatever. That was something I saw a lot in conservative circles. Depending on, well, you know what? Before we continue, let's hear Katie Couric's side of the story. Let's see. Let's hear what she had to say, because that is important. I don't want to disparage anything.
Talking about journalism, and this is very much a journalism story, you did make an eye-opening revelation about an interview you did with Ruth Bader Ginsburg. You decided to leave out newsworthy comments that she made on the subject of kneeling during the national anthem.
Yeah.
How did you justify that? It violates a cardinal rule of journalism.
Well, I think what people don't realize is we make editorial decisions like that all the time. And I chose to talk about this and put it in the book for a discussion. I mentioned that it was a conundrum that I asked Justice Ginsburg about Colin Kaepernick and taking a knee and how she felt about that. And I did include the fact that she said it was dumb and disrespectful. It was stupid and arrogant, and quite a bit of what she said. There was another line that I thought I wasn't sure what she meant exactly, and I thought it was subject to interpretation. What I wish I had done is asked a follow-up to clarify, or just run it and let her clarify it later. But I think the most pertinent and direct response to the question about Colin Kaepernick, I included. And that's why I raised it, because maybe I should have done the other sentence as well.
Let me push you on it a little bit, because she did make those comments. You said in the book that you wanted to protect her.
Yeah.
So that's not an occasion where you're using that objectivity that's so important to us journalists. And the question is whether that undermines journalism at a time when reporters are under attack for bias like that.
I think Justice Brandeis says sunshine is the best disinfectant. And I think the more we can be transparent about the decisions we make, and the more we can say, maybe that wasn't the right one.
Do you think
the
it was
better off
wrong
we were.
now that you look at it in the light
Yeah,
of
I
day?
think I think I should have included it. But I also think it's really important to look at what I did include. She had to make a statement afterwards saying her comments were harsh and dismissive. I think I still believe I used the most critically important response. But I think you're right. It might have illuminated even more if I had included that other statement.
All right. So that was what she said. That's what she said. And, you know, after hearing what she said, because I heard about it, I heard it before, I did feel a little bit better about it, that she actually, you know, she edited some of it, but some of it got out there. And my opinion, the way that I see it, from where I'm standing, if I'm conducting an interview with someone and they say some crazy sideways shit, and they are someone that has the level of power that somebody like a Supreme Court justice has, I don't think that it is. I don't think it shows journalistic integrity to do that type of editing. And I'm glad that she said it, or that she, you know, acknowledged it. But and again, I want to be very clear. RBG still a badass. RBG still the notorious. RBG still instrumental in women's rights, in women's rights and stuff like that. But let me ask, because I have to, because she did say these things. Is she a product of, I hate to use this because it's such a cop-out, but is she a product of her environment, or a product of the way that she was raised? Because, for the record, like, depending on what she says, obviously, like, this is not something completely out of the ordinary for people who are RBG's contemporaries. It's not. It's not out of the ordinary. Like, you have two issues here. You have the issue of the journalistic integrity, and then you have the issue of somebody that is a progressive icon, kind of not stepping in line with the progressive, and really what the in my opinion, the right call would be regarding the kneeling of the kneeling in front of the, or kneeling for the anthem. So, was this a comment? The comment about Colin Kaepernick, the comment about all that, was that a product of her upbringing? Because as somebody who had a father who was 88 when he passed away, he never said anything like, overtly racist crap. But I could think of a couple of times where he said something that made me kind of think twice. But I know who he is as a person. I know him more than that comment that he made. That's not a luxury that people like Ruth Bader Ginsburg have. Or anybody, really. Anybody that you follow online that you don't know personally. The only information, the only evidence you have of them is the stuff that you hear in the news. And look, Mother Teresa is a great example. There is a lot of people who worked with Mother Teresa, who dealt with Mother Teresa, who said Mother Teresa wasn't a great woman. But everything that I have seen, and everything that most people have seen of Mother Teresa, they think of a champion of the poor. So they have more information than we do about Mother Teresa. So who do we believe? And same with RBG. Now, RBG is the opposite. RBG has been known, and she has been known as a progressive icon, as somebody who has, generally a good heart and that kind of thing. A darling of the left, as they say. So when RBG says something like that, do we give her a pass? Do we re-educate her? Well, I mean, she's dead now, obviously, but when people like that, people at that in that level of power, and people in that age range, which by the way, if it's a product of the upbringing, and these people are octogenarians, why are they making laws still? Why are they making laws when they don't know how Facebook works? Facebook, by the way, the social media of the old people. So when the old people are so old that they don't know how a Facebook or something like that works, what are you going to do? Like, why are they making laws? But that's a conversation for another time. But yeah, RBG doing that's crazy. That was Katie Couric doing that is, well, I guess, par for the course. But it shows that the distrust of journalistic integrity today is valid to an extent. And that's the issue here. So there was another thing that happened this week. Facebook decided that they were going to do they're going to do a rebrand. Now, I don't believe that they're doing a rebrand of the actual the platform. I think it's the parent company. Part of it has to do with the scandals that they've had. Yeah, because the name is the problem. It's so weird to me that brands do that, and then we just like, okay, yeah, that's fine. Yeah, it happened. That's what we do. We rebrand when we do something crazy or something stupid. But there are a lot of people that did not, and a lot of brands that never did the rebrand after doing atrocities. Looking at you, Fanta. Looking at you, Hugo Boss, Volkswagen. Who else? Kodak, IBM. All of these people were involved in the Holocaust. In some form, IBM, they made the machines that counted the people. They didn't do a rebrand. I mean, all these guys did was, give the Russians an ability to mess with our elections. But they didn't do a rebrand. That's freaking crazy. All these... Hugo Boss didn't have a rebrand. And they were in charge. They were not in charge of manufacturing the uniform. I think they might have designed the uniforms or something. They were involved in one of the uniforms. But yeah, this rebrand is pretty crazy. I'm wondering how that is going to affect it. But one of the things that I've heard, or that I kind of agree with, is that Facebook is kind of dying. Instagram is their young platform. Facebook is their old person platform, and even the Instagram platform is, older. It skews older, the people that use it. Still younger than Facebook, but not by much. Maybe like a late millennial, a young millennial. I'm an old millennial. I'm a first-year millennial, and I use Facebook and I use Instagram primarily, usually, and YouTube. So I don't know. I think that there's something to be said about this whole Facebook conspiracy, the rebrand. I think that there's something to be said here about monopolies and about whether or not these social media platforms that are so big that could rival utilities, or they are basically utilities, and they act like utilities in some areas of the world. So I think that there's a new conversation here that, like, you can't just pull an Amway. You can't just pull a Quick Star. For those of you who don't know, for those of you who are too young to remember, Amway was the name of the brand, the MLM brand, the pyramid scheme brand, in the 60s. And then they did something crazy, and they had to change their name to Quick Star. And now I guess they're back to Amway. I don't know when that happened. Maybe the early aughts, early 00s. So I don't know, man. I don't know. This is we have entered late stage capitalism to the point that, I mean, Squid Game, this show that I haven't watched yet, but apparently it's a depiction, an opinion piece on late stage capitalism, which I can totally see. So, Facebook doing that is just basically, they're not doing it for a good reason. Not a good reason for us. None of these companies make any of these decisions because they care for our well-being. No matter how many commercials you see, no matter how many people tell you that, oh yeah, no, Facebook is for the people, and Tom's shoes give shoes to people all of these companies are here for one thing. Even the ones that are the fashionable nonprofit types, those are all for the profit. They partner up with nonprofit organizations because that is what's hip today. And it's not bad. Some of them are more effective than others, their endeavors of nonprofit. But really, they don't, if the profit side of the company doesn't make money, they're not going to be able to have a nonprofit to deal with. But make no mistake, the reason for the nonprofit is to make profit. The reason that they attach themselves to Tom's to the shoes thing, or Facebook, to whatever endeavor, whatever nonprofit endeavor you can think of, the reason they are doing it is so that the profit side of the equation is raised. Because now you think of them as a humanitarian organization. Facebook, the humanitarian organization. But yeah, another jab at journalistic integrity. CNN doubles down and takes Dr. Sanjay Gupta, their medical correspondent, went on the Joe Rogan Experience and talked about their reporting of ivermectin, and basically Joe called him out. Ivermectin, a drug that is used for humans as well. They said basically that Joe Rogan was taking horse medication. Come on, man. In the words of Joe Biden, come on, man. It's not. Look, yes, I get it. It is also used for horse medication, and yes, people were using it. We're buying it from wherever you buy horse medication from to use it themselves. And that is not obviously what, number one, Joe Rogan did, and number two, what anybody's advocating. Nobody's advocating that. I mean, I'm sure people are advocating, but nobody with any, brains is suggesting that you take ivermectin that you take the Horse Dewormer version or the Horse Dewormer dosage. If your doctor says take ivermectin, take ivermectin. But it has not been proven to help with COVID, from what I understand, from the information that I got. I didn't have to take ivermectin because I got fucking vaccinated. So, CNN, after Sanjay Gupta goes on the Joe Rogan Experience, they invite him. Don Lemon invites Sanjay Gupta to the beating bench. I don't know. They were basically having him walk back what he was saying, and it was painful to watch. And Sanjay Gupta did what he had to do, I guess. But that was really crappy of CNN and of Don Lemon and of all of them to bring Sanjay Gupta to the Sanjay. Why do I use his first and last name? Why can't I just anyway? Dr. Gupta. Let's go with that. It's like Joe Rogan has way more, 10 times the audience that CNN has. And they're trying to go after that. Like that is the worst way, that you are doing the worst disservice to your profession. It's insane to me that you think that is going to make that CNN thinks that they're going to come out looking good. But there again we have the journalistic integrity that has gone by the wayside, I guess. Finally, I wanted to talk about this labor shortage, because the labor shortage that is apparently happening was due to the fact that the unemployment benefits have been stripped from basically the whole country. The wonderful, so generous unemployment benefits that were a joke by comparison of other countries, poorer countries, people that have less money than us got the citizenry got better aid for COVID-19. And it is insane to me that people still think that people just don't want to work. Well, this particular Florida man applied to 60 entry-level jobs to prove that the labor shortage was a myth. So this is by Alex Galbraith from the CLTampa.com. They're a sister publication to the Orlando Weekly. Shout out, big up Orlando Weekly. And a man by the name of Joey Holtz put together a spreadsheet of the places that he applied and what the issues were. He applied for 2 jobs a day during the month of September. 2 jobs a day. So remember what the rhetoric is. That because of the unemployment benefits expansion, that the people were just not wanting to work and they were staying home. Well, the state of Florida stopped having those benefits a couple of months ago. I think it was June. So if the benefits ended in June and it's now September, during the article, there should be a labor boom, right? In fact, people are saying, "Oh, you wait till there's no more plus up or there's no more whatever. You're going to be begging for a job." Well, there's still a labor shortage, right? According to Joey, according to this gentleman, he had one interview where it was, I guess, 59 spots that he applied to. He had one interview where the advertised hours and pay were misrepresented, and that was his one interview. Oh, and the pay? $10 an hour. And they were still wanting to pay him less. This guy specifically was going to places whose owners were complaining about not having anyone to work for them. They're desperate for help, just not enough to pay for it, and that's the problem. So these guys are desperate for help, quote unquote, and a person goes there and applies for work, and in the one case that they got an interview, the advertised hours and pay were misrepresented. You know, the gentleman from the story, I think, said it best. He said, after 58 publications, says y'all aren't desperate for workers. Y'all just miss your slaves. And I could not have said it better myself. I couldn't have said it better myself than this guy right here, than Joey. So shout out to Joey. And if you are one of those people, if you are one of those business owners who wants a full-time or a part-time employee and you can't pay them enough to pay rent, then maybe you shouldn't be a business owner. So, with that said, my name is DJ Zouain. You can find me on all social media at DJ ZOUAIN. You can find me on Instagram, on Facebook because I'm old, on YouTube, on TikTok because I'm trying to be young still, and anywhere else. You can just find me at DJ Zouain. But better yet, you can go to theend.fm and you can find all of the podcasts. You can find the Hijack, you can find the Monday Music Mix, and you can find Irreverent. I'm going to be bringing back Irreverent soon. And check out the Shower Joint Mix. The Shower Joint Mix that I just put out there last week. And make sure and catch me tonight. You should catch me tonight. I'm going to be at George's Tavern tonight in Sanford, and West End in Sanford tomorrow. So we're doing a double because next week, no show, no Hijack, and I'm going to be in the middle of the woods doing some Halloween with my homies, my family from the Shire. Other than that, my name is DJ Zouain. Make sure and follow me on all social media, and I will talk to you next week. Peace.